For the next question, our office receives calls asking how the One Big Beautiful Bill will impact rural health care. Can you talk about that?
I sure can. To those of you who have heard rumors from the critics that this will destroy rural health care, don't believe the scare tactics. This bill provided $50 billion in targeted funds for rural care. It gives states flexibility to support local providers. Trust me, I know how much rural health service means to Southern Illinois. I've helped secure millions of dollars in grants for our hospitals across Southern Illinois and back legislation to reduce bureaucracy and red tape that halts rural health care and work to expand access.
The Access Live event operator has been notified that you wish to ask a question.
Whether in person or virtually. So both of those are now in there. This is an important issue for me, as I know it is for my constituents.
Okay, our next question will come from Janice over in Carbondale.
Yeah, Janet, are you with us?
Yes, I am. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
How do you feel about Jeffrey Epstein and not releasing those bills, since that has been always a big thing for both parties to know if Bill Clinton, whoever it is,
right.
How do you feel about it not helping these, exploit these young girls, and how can we as a country work toward making sure that we are letting the American people know what's going on? And just hearing him say, it's okay, but we want to see the documents because we want these people to be punished no matter if it's Democrat or Republican.
Got it. Yep. So there should be transparency. I believe it. I've said it all along to working people in America that they should know about this. You heard it from the president himself last week that he instructed the General Pam Bondi to release whatever information she finds credible. He wants relevant files and testimony made public for people to review for themselves, and I agree with him on that request. The bad thing is there was a political game played earlier this week, late last week, and it was a straight up or down vote that an amendment that somebody tried to push, and so that was not the way to do it. And I'm going to tell you this, if our Democrat colleagues were serious about exposing the truth, they would have done it when Biden was in power, or working through regular order and let Congress vote on it in a clean bill instead of a procedural vote. So we'll see what will happen here. I am pushing for it. I think it should be released. Of course, I have also not read the report. But yes, I'm pushing for it. So I appreciate you asking that question because I haven't been asked that a lot.
All right, our next question tonight will be from Harry over in Lake of Egypt.
Hi, Harry, are you on the line?
Yes, I am. I'm real surprised to hear you get the most calls about the post office, given this day and age. However, I'm encouraged to understand, are you predicting that the medical care here in rural Southern Illinois is going to improve now based on the big, beautiful bill?
I believe that the Medicare will improve based on the quality of the implementation of the state of Illinois of what we have now turned over to the states on the Medicaid. Now make sure you understand this. Medicare was not touched, and Social Security not touched. Medicaid is what we're talking about. And what we did was we made it to where if you receive Medicaid or SNAP, first off, it does not go to illegals. You can't give it to illegals. And what we've also done is to make sure that the error rates in states are going to be reduced by the fact that there's going to be a shared cost with the state based on their error rate. So based on the fact that the money is going to be going to the people it's supposed to, then yes, I would believe that the quality of the payments would be improved. Let me tell you that doesn't mean it's going to change one way or the other as far as the care, because the care is based on the hospital. And in that bill,
Well, yes, they're in the hospitals based on the availability of that money.
right,
So
and this is
that's
why
why I think people are very concerned it's going to demise. Furthermore, what about food availability?
Okay.
I feel like Southern Illinois is already stretched and suffering from food insecurity with 218,000 people in Southern Illinois losing their food benefits. How are we going to keep up with that?
Okay, here. So let me finish up on the Medicare first. Also, we put $50 billion extra dollars in the rural care, okay, in the big beautiful bill. But what it did do, and no, so maybe you don't agree with this, but I have a feeling most listeners will. When it comes to SNAP, we did not cut SNAP. What we did was we said that if you are a recipient of SNAP, you are between the age of 18 and 65. You are not mentally or physically disabled. You do not have a child under 12, or you're not pregnant. Then you are required to work 20 hours a week, or show that you're searching for work 20 hours a week, or seeking education to improve your opportunity for work for 20 hours a week. So the only reason you would lose your SNAP benefits is if you are here illegally, which is a violation of law. And that would be something that why it is we have to work on the error rates that exist in our states, because right now this is just simply a pass-through program, and the states have no skin in the game, so they can have error rates and basically not necessarily give it to those people who were really seeking it and need it, and that's what's been going on. Now, let me tell you that the error rate in Illinois is somewhere between 10 and 11%. We're trying to get everybody down to 5% within 2 years. If you don't get down to that point, there will be an increase in the amount your state has to pay to offset those costs. Our worst state was Alaska, that was almost at 60%. So what we're doing is we're being wiser with your tax dollars and making sure that it's going to those people that are United States citizens and are here legally, so that they can receive the benefit that they need and not go through and throw this debt off to our children and grandchildren for such a long time. And it's probably one of the better improvements we've ever made. But thank you. Appreciate it. Appreciate you calling.
All right, our next caller is Antonio from over in Carbondale.
Hi, Antonio.
Hello, and thank you for holding the town meeting today. I appreciate it. I just want to say, from a resident in Carbondale, I am worried how this big, beautiful bill is going to affect people. Right now, you talked about all the new or more requirements that's gonna, hopefully phase out SNAP benefits or any kind of funding to people that don't deserve it, or for people that that shouldn't be getting it. But what I'm concerned about is all those extra paperwork is going to put a lot of strain on older people who doesn't have, the best access to internet or best access to their documents, and they're going to not get these benefits because they're not able to fill out these applications or meet the requirements. But that doesn't mean that they still don't need it. So that's what I'm concerned about. And then I'm really concerned that I feel like the focus right now that you're talking about is very like a national level, national level, like the border security and illegal immigrants and things like that. But as a state that doesn't have any border with Mexico or Canada, I just feel like the focus should be more on Southern Illinois and what we should improve, because I see that national chains are opening up in Carbondale, but I don't see any small and mom and pop shops. I don't see any support for small businesses. They're all going out of business. And then, that takes away all of the good food or the good ingredients that we could be getting to our people. Somebody talked about the lack of food options in Southern Illinois. That's totally true. It's going to ruin our health if we don't do anything about, if we don't have concerns over the health of our Southern Illinois residents. I really would appreciate if you could talk to us about how this big beautiful bill is going to directly affect us in Southern Illinois and not so much on the national level.
Well, first off, understand that I represent Southern Illinois, but I work on a national level. And let me tell you that I think the benefits are going to be huge for Southern Illinois. You've made their people's tax cuts permanent. It eliminated taxes on tips, overtime, and new car loan interest. That is the working men and women right out there. I guarantee you, I got a lot of people in my district that get taxes and tips, get tips and overtime, encourages new car sales, provides $175 billion. That's for the border. I don't think a majority of my constituents are upset over someone who's receiving these benefits that's healthy, having the opportunity to go out and seek work. Now, how that will help is more people seeking work, even part-time work of 20 hours a week, will help those small businesses. What else helps those small businesses was preventing a tax increase of 27% on average per our local families. Not a billionaire like what was being said, but on those mom and pop businesses and those middle income workers, and actually the upper lower income workers would have received a very high tax increase. 68,000 families in our area keep their full child tax credit. Now let me tell you that again, okay? Because you're saying that I don't worry about. You didn't feel like I was worried about Southern Illinois. 68,000 families in our area keep their full child tax credit, and 94% of taxpayers keep their standard deductions. Now, that protects about 9,000 manufacturing jobs and over 800 million in manufacturing wages. So, yep, I do represent Southern Illinois, and I'm proud to represent them with this. And, I know there's a lot of people, look, the only thing the people that were opposed to this have is to make claims that aren't necessarily true. And I know that's awful to think that they would do that, but the reality is they did, and now even the reviews from every newspaper around is saying how much of a benefit it was to pass this bill. So, but thank you for the call. I appreciate it.
Okay. Our next question is from Jenny over in Johnsonville.
Hi, Jenny. Are you on the line?
I am on the line. Thank you very much. I was wondering why you keep voting for stuff when we have called over and over and over again and asked you, the same questions, and you're still supporting things when many, many people are asking for more detailed information. And I'm sorry, sir, but you are not representing Southern Illinois. There are more than just Republicans in Southern Illinois. I'm disabled.
Well, that's your opinion. I appreciate it. The calls to my office, we actually have a majority of the calls that are in support of this. It's not a majority of the calls that are in opposition to this. And the bright side is that we have elections, and I think it was very clear in my district, because both the president and I, during the last election, said these were the things that we were going to do. We were going to secure the border. We were going to get rid of waste, fraud, and abuse. Now, I'm going to tell you that, like I said, we're still going to be providing Medicare, Medicaid, and Social Security. No cuts to the last two. Medicaid is the one we're talking about, not cutting, but making sure the people that are on it are people that qualify for it. And I don't understand where the concern, why would you not be concerned about the fact that you're taxing low-income families and middle-income families that are the working men and women to provide something to people that, one, either are illegal, or two, are not meeting the qualifications according to their own surveys of the state of Illinois because of their error rate. And that savings alone means a lot. And it means putting people back to work, which is fantastic. And when you start seeing what's happening around this nation and what the price of fuel going down, with the price of fuel going down, the price of inflation not skyrocketing like it was. I'm more than happy to share how often people call in support of passing this bill and doing these things. And I think the voters showed that as well. But I appreciate the call. Thank you.
All right. Our next call will come from Jessica over in Hawaii.
Jessica, are you online?
Hi, Congressman.
Hi.
My name is Jessie. Hey, how are you?
Hi,
I've actually flown to DC a couple of times in this year to meet with you and talk to you about the big beautiful bill, and you quite literally ran away from our group twice on more than one occasion. So what I'm wanting to know is how this bill is going to be so much better for people in rural Illinois when it does, and the no tax on tips and the no tax on overtime is only federal, so it only goes to so much. That doesn't mean that everyone's overtime is no longer taxed. That's not what's happening. I read it.
Actually, I think most of my people. Okay, go ahead. I'm sorry, I'm interrupting. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I think, do you know that most of our people who get tips, the cap is $25,000. That's a lot. The overtime is those true people that work overtime. Those are not billionaires. And I don't remember running away from any group here in D.C. I appreciate you saying that, but that's like a lot of things that are said around here. And because if my constituents come in, if I'm not in a meeting, I'm more than willing to talk to people here and have. Matter of fact, I have meetings every 15 minutes when I'm not in a committee, every 15 minutes with different people. And I'm glad to show you my schedule just to show you that. But the statement that you came out and I ran away from you, I'm sorry. I don't think that that's the case, but it was nice of you to say. But thanks for calling.
All right, our next question will come from Robert over in Waterloo.
Robert, are you online?
Yes. I would like to know, you are touting all the successes of the big, beautiful bill, but you're cutting social programs left and right to pay for increases to the ICE budget, which now has a bigger budget than the Marine Corps. We're paying for tax cuts for billionaires and millionaires and the ultra wealthy at the cost of PBS, NPR, Medicaid. All these social programs are being destroyed in favor of the most wealthy among us and in favor of the military-industrial complex. And you say that a lot of people are calling into your office in favor of this bill, yet in this telephone town hall, which is the only way we can contact you since you won't do in-person town halls, they're saying that they don't support this bill. So how do you lie about these things, about the big, beautiful bill helping people when Republicans campaigned on not cutting Medicaid? Then they cut Medicaid as soon as they get it. Then we're cutting the Department of Education, all to pay for tax cuts for billionaires and more wars to be funded and the deportation of people from this country.
Ready? So let me say, I'll say the same thing I did, and that is Medicare is not being cut for those people who need it. It's being cut, and there are work requirements with it. But it's not being cut for people who need it. It's being cut for those people who are falsely on the system. Now, you mentioned a couple other things that were out there. PBS and NPR cuts. So when PBS and NPR came about, they were to provide funding for education for children on a television program and everything like that. Well, now we can get all kinds of programming, and if NPR and PBS they do individual fundraising. If they want to do that, they can, but we have existing family programs online. We have existing television programs online. There is a time for change, and that time was where we could take that money and redirect it in other places. And you know, not only that, the NPR and PBS began to have political opinions rather than just news and reporting. And it's kind of got to the point. Now, the other programming on there, I love it. I watch every once in a while. And I have been known to support it and actually been on fundraisers to help support it. But that's just it. We're a long way away from free channels, and the public channel was one of them. So when those funds can be redirected, I'm happy to do that. And the list goes on the positive things that are in this bill. But I appreciate the call. Thank you.
Our next question is from Clark.
Hi, Clark. Are you on the line?
Yes, I am. Hi, Congressman. I just wanted to bring up the fact that I think that it's kind of humorous that you brought up earlier about talking about getting your household in order, getting your budget in order, whenever you voted to increase the deficit by $3.8 trillion over 10 years. Not only that, but as far as Medicaid is concerned, there have been 2 states so far that have put in work requirements. It's funny to me that you guys keep saying that work requirements are going to help get rid of people who are 35-year-olds in their basements playing video games. Whenever 90 or actually, you know what? I'm not going to say 90 because I'm not going to be an absolutist. Let's say at least 75% of the people who are on Medicaid are also working. 2 states, Georgia, Arkansas, did the exact same thing that you guys are trying to do. You know what they saw? Decreased people on Medicaid in a completely, and they did not gain any jobs. There is actually no increase in the amount of people employed. So whenever you talk about this as something like, oh, well, I just want able-bodied people to be able to work and not draw Medicaid, that's not true. You are going to see people get their benefits cut. You're going to see people die in your district. You're going to see rural hospitals close in your district, and you voted for it, just like Mike Johnson did. And he has 40% of his constituents are on Medicaid. So I just wanted to say.
Okay, I appreciate that. And I just want to say this, that I explained where, and we may disagree, but the numbers you're quoting were not accurate. And whenever you talk about that the bill will increase the deficit, the Council on Economic Advisors predicted that the legislature will reduce the deficit by over $2 trillion. It will reduce the deficit by increasing economic growth, cutting waste, fraud, and abuse, and delivering historic levels of mandatory savings. So with that was our last caller, but let me say this. As you can tell, we let in people who might have a different opinion on it, and I'm glad we got to hear it. With that, Caden, do we have the results?
We sure do. So of all the people who participated in the poll, 49% approve of the Big Beautiful Bill, 29% do not approve of the Big Beautiful Bill, and 22% are just unsure.
Okay, well, time's up for today. So thank you for being on the call. Hey, if you didn't get a chance to ask a question, please stay on the line. You will be connected by the voicemail box where you can leave us a message. We will respond to your questions promptly, and we'll direct you as soon as we can, where you can get the help you need. In addition, you can visit my website at bost.house.gov or follow me on Facebook or Twitter. Everybody, thank you for being on the line. God bless.